Come back out of executive session, and we do have an action related to that session. Do we have a motion?
I do have a motion.
A motion to approve the settlement between the city and H.W. Lochner and authorize the city manager or his designee to execute the settlement agreement on behalf of the city of Kenmore.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Get my mic going here. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Questions? All right. Can we please take the roll?
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Herbig?
Yes.
Councilmember Curtis?
Yes.
Councilmember Sperry?
Yes.
Councilmember Danuski?
Yes.
5-0.
All right, the motion passes. And with that, we will adjourn our special session and move to a regular session for the Kenmore City. If we could start with the roll call.
Councilmember Smith?
Here.
Councilmember Herbig?
Here.
Councilmember Curtis?
Present.
Councilmember Sperry?
Here.
Councilmember Danuski?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Van Ness?
Excused.
Mayor Baker?
Excused. All right. With that, if you would rise and join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What's going on my phone?
I'd like a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right. So now we have a special presentation, which we're really excited for. And I'm going to have Chief Cliff Sethler come and give us more information about our new motorcycle officer and
Good evening, Council. Tonight, I'd like to introduce to you our newly half-time motorcycle officer, Doug Deppa. Doug has basically attended, he's homegrown. He attended Kenmore Junior High and graduated from Kenmore High School in 1984. He was hired with the King County Sheriff's Office in 1999 after working in construction and newspaper printing industry for the Seattle Times. He is married with the father of two college-age children, a daughter and a son. His history in King County, he worked 2 years at unincorporated Precinct 2, which is right here, the old precinct in Kenmore. And then he went to the city of Woodinville for 7 years and worked there for 7 years as patrol officer. And then he went to the city of Shoreline for 8 years, worked traffic and patrol before he saw the light and came over to the best city in the area. He worked as an FTO, a field training officer, part-time SRO at Timberlake Junior High. He's also a firearm instructor. He's an active shooter team leader and a coach. He's been with us since February of 2016. That's when we all agreed to take that one patrol position and make it a half-time patrol, half-time motor officer position. He graduated the Police Motor Schools Academy April 1st of this year. It's a very rigorous academy, 2 weeks, very tough. So he passed that with flying colors. He's been out working the motorcycle since then, and he'll continue to do that. And so this time I'd like to go ahead and just give him a chance to say a few words.
Okay, just stand on. Hello. Well, thank you for the opportunity, first of all, to ride motorcycles in the city of Kenmore. It's to be able to ride professionally has been a goal of mine in my police career, and to actually bring that through to fruition here in Kenmore is really exciting for me, and I'm really looking forward to the opportunity of serving the community in that capacity. I've ever since I heard of the position, and I got to thank Chief Souther for considering me for that position, and I've just been very much excited to start it and to have to get through motor school and all the things and setting up the bike and all the equipment. But finally, we're kind of there and able to go out and do the work, and just looking forward to doing it. And I know that the catalyst for all this happening is keeping our citizens safe. And you know, as much fun as it is to ride around on the bike and looking good and all that stuff, it really comes down to is the education through enforcement that we can do on the bike where you can't do it in a car, in areas that are difficult to put a patrol car to watch certain traffic things going on. So I look forward to addressing those things specifically and ultimately making the roads safer for our citizens. Any questions for me? Any questions about the bike or anything else?
Go ahead. Councilmember Sperry.
Well, first of all, welcome, and I can tell you're excited, and you have to be to do it, and so I'm sure that it's going to be a really good position here for you. I just was wondering, have you had a chance to be out on the bike, and maybe what some of the citizens' responses might be, or anything like that? What kind
Yeah, well, actually, today I was I was not on the bike today. I was in a car, but I went to a call and spoke to a citizen, you know, and he looked at my name and he says, "Hey, I saw your name in the little newsletter. You're the new motor guy." And I was like, "Yes, I am." You know, so it was kind of cool that I wasn't even on the bike and he already recognized me as that. And I haven't seen that newsletter yet. I want to see it. So so that was pretty cool. And then the bike has been very well received. I was sitting at the red light eastbound on Northeast 175 right at 68th there. And a guy came up next to me in his car. He was going to turn right to go up Juanita. And he looked at me and he kind of was like, "Whoa, Kenmore has a bike?" And I said, "Yeah, first day or first week or whatever it was." And he's like, "That is so cool." You know, and then he just left. So I've been getting a lot of responses like that, which are really cool. And then, you know, I got to say that just the citizens in Kenmore are really impressing me. First of all, you have a very well-behaved community. You really do. I've worked other areas where not so much, and of course, there's always the element that we deal with the most. But by and large, the people here really well behaved, and this city is very well policed, and that really speaks volumes to your chief here. I hope you realize what a gem you have in this man, and the people I work with are top notch, and it's just a privilege and my pleasure to work with them. And we have fun, but we get out there and we do the job, and I just look forward to doing more of it. And you know, of course, the kids, you know, those types of things you drive by and they're just, you know, it's all, maybe I'll throw my lights on real quick as I go by and kind of give them a thrill, and it's fun. You know, I think there's an approachability that a police officer on a motorcycle has. When I'm just, you know, maybe sitting in a parking lot, you know, somebody will bring their child up and say, "Hey, you know, can you show my son this bike?" and get a chance to talk to him. And instead of the big scary patrol car, you know, it seems like I'm just more approachable that way. And I found that same thing like when I was on bicycle patrol too. People would come up and talk to you that ordinarily wouldn't. And so I think that kind of bridges a gap there between us and the community, which is a good thing. And so I look forward to seeing more of that.
Great.
Any other comments or questions?
So Rob wanted me to make sure that the bike was out here for you guys to see. So it's out there on the, we call it the patio or whatever. So totally up to you, whatever you'd like to do. It's there if you want to go see, but as soon as we're done, we'll be taking it back. So if you want to take a minute to go look at it, that's totally up to you. Or if that's
you can
good
ride
enough.
it for $5.
Yeah. Stacy was already asking if she could take it a spin around the block. So
I have to bring the ambulance around right after.
I think not.
I'll go take a look at it. I ride motorcycle, so I wanted to see it.
But so let's go ahead and take about a 3-minute break to go see the motorcycle for real. to log back into our computer here. All right, so we are back from our brief view of the motorcycle and a little more information, and we got some pictures. So we are now back in session. So moving to citizen comments. So this is a time for citizens to share their thoughts, and this is really an important time. We take seriously, whether it's here during council meetings or our time with the council, what the people of our city, what the citizens of our city are saying. So you've got 3 minutes. Try to stay within that. And do we have a list of people interested in speaking? And I think we might have 2 lists going.
Karina Field.
Do we? So one is the regular citizen comments, and then we'll have specific comments available for the business agenda item on the sound transit issue. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Karina File. I'm a resident of Kenmore, and I'm coming before you today.
Please give your address as well.
Yes, 18904 68th Avenue Northeast.
Thank you.
Kenmore, Washington. I'm coming before you today as our North Shore School District is ushering a large bit of change in adoption of gender-neutral bathrooms district-wide and a pending OSPI health policy improvement. And also as a parent of a transgender child, some of our local communities actually coming together in a community gathering pretty soon to celebrate with each other and come together, something that we haven't done yet, and it's rather unofficial. But officially, I'd like to ask that the city of Kenmore stand with our LGBTQ community, our parents, our kids, our voters, and maybe show a bit of a symbolism of flying the rainbow flag every June. And I know you can't answer right now, but it would mean a lot to the parents and to the families and to our kids. And especially after so much has happened with Orlando and how it has affected our community, it would set as precedence as you're standing with us and acknowledging us, and that you have our backs. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
There's no one else signed up.
Would anybody else like to speak for citizen comments? Would anybody else like to speak? 3 chances, and we're done for this one, but there will be another chance. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. All right. Moving to the business agenda. So this is concerning Sound Transit proposal, and if we could have a report from Nancy Owsley.
Yes, Councilmember Curtis and council members, I believe we have Deputy Mayor Ellen Van Ness on the conference line, and the mayor should be calling in any second. But before you is a resolution expressing the council's support for the Sound Transit 3 ballot measure, which was recently adopted by the Sound Transit Board. I'll just say a few words here. Chris Overlease and Sarah Langdon will be available for questions either now or after the public comment that's available.
Mine is clear.
I think there's perhaps a mayor on the line. Okay.
Boy version.
Yeah.
Actually, what I'd like to stop here, because if we're going to have a vote on it,
We need
the
to
rules
confirm.
require that the people on the conference phone can understand us and that we can understand them. So let's do a test here. Mayor Baker, are you on?
Yes,
All right, can you hear us?
yes, I can. It's now cleared up. I'm here too, no?
All right, thank you. So we have Alan Van Ness, Deputy Mayor, as well.
We can't
All right.
hear him very well. Can everyone hear Alan Van Ness?
He's quieter than
So, Alan, you are quieter, so if there's something important, yell a little louder.
But we've
All right, go
confirmed that.
We've confirmed that we
Deputy
can
Mayor's
hear
on.
them and they can hear us.
Okay. Well, I would just like to say, as someone who did not work directly on this effort with the Sound Transit 3 measure, how impressed I have been as a member of this organization, and how proud it makes me to be part of this organization. To think of about a year ago how the council directed the staff to advocate for some investments in this area for bus rapid transit and parking, and a later study of high capacity transit in this corridor, and to think of all the work that Citizens Coalition has put together, as well as our leadership, both elected and in the administration. I think that the actions that have been taken to culminate in the Sound Transit Board adopting a package to be on the ballot in November that has those three things, and that the city has advocated for in conjunction with 4 other cities, is really a huge accomplishment. I think it signals that Kenmore is really a player in these important regional decisions. So with that, the staff does recommend adoption of resolution number 16284 before you. And if you have questions now, or if you'd rather take public comment first, that is fine. But I just want to also commend the Citizens Coalition that attended many Sound Transit Committee and board meetings with these beautiful shirts, and all the work that has been done. So with that.
Thank you for that report. I think we'll go to citizen comments first, and then we'll have council comments and questions. So I think this isn't an official hearing, but I think we'll treat it as we do our regular citizen comments with the 3 minutes to speak. And do we have a list of citizens who would like to speak?
Janet Quinn.
Maybe a public ceremony.
Go ahead and give your name and address as well.
I don't know what he's
Good evening. I'm Janet Quinn, 17012 72nd Avenue Northeast in Kenmore. I thank you for the opportunity to address you. I'm here tonight representing the 522 Transit Now Coalition and to ask for your support on Resolution 16-284. As you know, the coalition has been working hard on behalf of Kenmore and our partner cities to ensure that State Route 522 was included in the Sound Transit 3 package. And as you've heard by now, all of the projects that we've been advocating for, and that's bus rapid transit on 522 and Northeast 145th to connect to the future light rail station at I-5 and 145th, parking structures on 522, and a light rail study for future potential light rail along 522. All were included in the package, and the package was approved unanimously by the Sound Transit Board. I had the privilege of delivering the letter signed by a broad community coalition of businesses and education partners, including Kenmore Air, Bastyr, Cascadia, Evergreen Health, UW Bothell, and many others, in support of these projects and a regional plan. So I moved to the Seattle area in 1979, the year the 520 floating bridge was paid off, 21 years early. Since then, our region has discussed, and meanwhile, our traffic gridlock has become an increasingly grim reality. We have the opportunity now, through the Sound Transit 3 package, to lay groundwork for future generations to have options for commuting that go well beyond one person, one vehicle.
What?
If we had acted in 1979, the cost would have been much, much lower. So my hope is that we approve ST3 now so that 20, 30, 40 years from now, our children and grandchildren aren't talking about our missed opportunity. So I'm just thank you in advance for your time and for your approval of this resolution.
Thank you.
Mark Abersold.
Hi, I'm Mark Abersold. I live at 18903 71st Avenue Northeast here in Kenmore. And I'm also here to talk about ST3 and to encourage your support for this measure. I'd like to, first of all, thank the city, the staff, council members, everybody who helped make this a reality. A year ago, we were really not on Sound Transit's radar with this project. And it was through the hard work of everyone involved that we will be on the ST3 ballot, and everything we asked for is going to be there. So it's a testament to all the hard work that we've done. I want to talk about just how much of a difference this ST3 is going to make for our community. We live in a region that's growing very fast. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the United States. Sometimes it's on top of the list. And we have significant challenges. We don't have endless acres of cheap land going off in every direction. We have constraints. We have geographical constraints. And that means we have to use the space we have more efficiently. And transit is a great way of doing that. And not only is it efficient, but I believe that transit makes people's lives better. I moved to Seattle. I grew up in Olympia, but I moved to Seattle 9 years ago, and I've been using transit the whole time. I've been at my current job for 6 years, and I can probably count on two hands the number of times I've driven to work. And what it has done is, first of all, it's made my life a whole lot less stressful because I don't have to worry about driving. It's allowed me to spend that time doing other things. It's saved me and my family a whole lot of money. We only have one car in my family, and we're planning on keeping it that way. And being able to ride transit is what helps us to do that. Sound Transit 3 can help people in Kenmore in many ways. It will give us a more convenient transit option. The transit we have now is doing the job, but it's starting to get a little overcrowded. At least once every week, this happened to me today. I wasn't able to get on a bus to get home because it was too crowded. So I had to wait for the next one, and that's just going to keep on happening as the communities along this corridor get more dense. It'll open up new connections for us. When transit is easy and convenient to use, like this project will be, it will enable people to use transit to do things besides just getting to work. And it'll give us more options. It's not just this project, but also projects that are being built in other places that people in this community will be able to use. Just the other day, when the president was in town, I was able to take the light rail to the university and take a different bus because downtown was too congested. And because the light rail was there, that was an option for me. So the other projects on the list besides what's being built here will also be a great benefit to us, because people who work downtown or work in the university or want to go to other places will be able to use it. And finally, it also will help people to come here. We don't just want people to take a bus out of Kenmore and then come back at the end of the day. We want to bring people here too. There's a lot of things that are happening in this city. We've got the town green that's coming up. We're going to have new businesses. We want people to come here, and people can come here in transit if it's convenient and easy to use. So I encourage all of you to support Sound Transit 3 in this measure. It's going to make a big difference in all of our lives. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no one else signed up.
Would anybody else like to speak on this measure? Last chance. Would anybody else like to add their 2 cents worth. All right. Do we have any comments or questions from the council? Councilmember Smith?
I just want to thank the work of Janet Quinn and
We have
Mark
no
Ebersol.
questions online.
I'm not sure what the mayor was asking, but I just want to thank you very much for all your work, because I know it's one thing to be part of the staff or part of the group here that's working on it, but it takes a special effort to come out from the community and be a part of it. And so your efforts are really appreciated. Thank you.
What the mayor was saying was they had no questions on their end. Any other questions here? Councilmember Herbig?
No, we all know from driving 522 every day that traffic's not getting any better, and Bothaway is not that different from roads that we have all over the region. We're never going to be able to build enough roads or lane miles to accommodate the million-plus people that we're expecting to see in this region coming here between now and 2040. And so we have to continue building on this network that we've been working on since the late 90s. Sound Transit 3 is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us to build really meaningful mass transit throughout the entire region. I want to thank Janet, Mark, and all the other folks in the yellow shirts for all the work they did to get our projects on what we're going to be voting on in November. I know it was a lot of work, it was a lot of meetings. I know how exciting those Sound Transit meetings can be, and I appreciate you guys going there and making sure that you're heard. BRT on 522 is going to be a huge thing for Kenmore. It's going to be predictable for folks. It's going to be efficient. It's going to have separated lanes so that it's not getting stuck in the traffic the rest of us are stuck into. And the most important thing, I think, is that it's going to link Kenmore directly to the light rail station over 145th and I-5, giving people really quick options to get to the University District, downtown, West Seattle, Tacoma, Everett. It's going to give folks in Kenmore a way to bypass this molasses run that we have every day on Bothaway. Some folks, the Seattle Times, argues that we need to hit pause on this, that we need to think about it more, but hitting pause is what got us into the situation where we're 20, 30 years behind a lot of other cities with building these sorts of networks. We have to act now, and I look forward to supporting this resolution. I want to thank everybody for their work on it.
Councilmember Danuski?
Yeah, what he said, basically. Very well said, Councilmember Herbig. Wanted to thank all the 522 Transit Now people. Going to those meetings as a citizen is a lot of work and a lot of dedication. Just to have our projects on the list when we weren't even a twinkle in Sound Transit's eye a year ago is pretty amazing. So thank you, everyone.
I remember many years ago we had a planner from the University of Washington come and speak, and he said for his class, he gives them this math problem, says, if you have this many cars that have to get to Seattle in a day, how many lanes do you need? It's 16 and a half lanes each way. Okay? So that's never going to work. So this is really the answer, is we need to think of another way to get around. And I'm really excited that we were successful in getting our 3 projects on ST3. Do either of you have any comments?
I would. Thank you for asking. And I know Sarah would like to say a few words as well. I'd like to give a shout out to the Sound Transit team. I know we started a year ago without north end of the lake representation in their project list, but I have to say from when we first reached out to Rick Ilgenfritz and his team, Karen Kitsis, they've been gracious, they've been willing to meet with us, and they actually said, if you need help, Langton Spieth is who you want to get to help you out. So I'm very grateful to the Sound Transit staff for working with us, being available, and giving us some really good feedback on how to move forward. So I'm very proud of the work that we've done from our, I know Sarah wants to say a few words and she can fill in, but I know we attended 8 to 10 Sound Transit meetings at least during the day. We've put a big effort into this work, but I also think that we've been leaders and we've been pulling our neighbors together. So I am very grateful for the opportunity to have worked on this project. Our work's not done yet, but very grateful to have worked on it and look forward to moving forward. Sarah?
Thanks. I also wanted to say thanks for the opportunity to work with you all. It's been a blast. And Janet and her leadership, and Mark with Janet oftentimes. And we had a steering committee that met a lot. And then we had several full meetings, and we did social media. And these guys really, really worked hard. And I also wanted to just compliment Kenmore and the mayor in particular and Rob, of course, he's not here, but the way that you all behaved set a whole new standard for how interjurisdictional cooperation and collaboration can really result in great things. Getting those 5 cities together on January 12th for the joint council meeting, that sort of rippled through the entire region. Like, how did they do that? So that was a very cool moment. And I also wanted to let you know that the last 2 times, I believe, that the mayor spoke, gave public comment at the Sound Transit Board, usually had flanked by other mayors from the other cities or other council representatives. He is the only one, the last 2 times, that Dow Constantine took a moment to compliment on how the city of Kenmore and the cities on Long 522 came together, how they behaved, how they were successful in getting their objectives accomplished. And he spent a few moments complimenting the mayor and Kenmore both times. So that never happens. And he didn't do that with any other speaker. So congratulations. You guys have done a fabulous job, and it's been an honor and a pleasure to be here. So thanks.
Thank you very much. Any other comments before we bring the resolution forward? All right, concerning resolution number 16-284, a resolution of the City of Kenmore, Washington, stating the City Council's support for Sound Transit's ballot proposition adopted by the resolution R2016-17, which provides for the expansion of light rail, commuter rail, and bus rapid transit service. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, I'll second.
Actually, Councilmember Herbig was first, and the mayor was second. So we'll take it in that order. So can we take the vote?
Councilmember Herbig.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Van Ness.
I am all in favor of the bus rapid transit that the city, there's an echo in here, the bus rapid transit that we have obtained in SD3. I do have some questions about the whole plan, but I do vote yes on the resolution.
Mayor Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember Danuski.
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Sperry.
We always were.
So one of the during our Imagine Kenmore process, we asked people what the number one or what the problems are that the city should try to solve in the next 5 years. 35%, which was higher than anyone else, it was traffic. And although we can't build 16 lanes each way, we can provide some opportunities for people to use alternative transit. And I am really, really proud of our city and the citizens and the team that have gotten us to this point where we do have the opportunity to provide some transit choices for our citizens. So yes. So my vote was yes, Patty.
And Councilmember Curtis.
Yes.
7-0.
So the resolution passes 7-0.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Are you guys going to sign off now?
We're signing off.
All right. Thank you.
Just push off.
Next, we're looking at issues related to the Washington State Building Code, and we have Brian Hampson to give a report.
Good evening, Council. I'm Brian Hampson, Development Services Director, and with me tonight is Fire Marshal Jeff LaFlamme. And what we have before us tonight is a possible adoption of the 2015 International Building Codes. And the international building codes are comprised of 10 different construction codes, including the fire code, which Jeff Laflamme, Fire Marshal Laflamme, helps us out enforcing the fire code and also adopting it. So he'll be here to explain those changes and answer any questions that you may have regarding that. The Washington State building codes go into effect this Friday, July 1st. Every city in Washington is required to use and enforce the 2015 building codes July 1st with the state amendments. But this is our opportunity to make local amendments. And we have teamed up on two different fronts. One is with the eCity Gov Alliance. There's 12 other cities in Snohomish County that join together, and we work on amending codes and also redoing our Chapter 1 of our construction codes, which is our Kenmore Administrative Code. And on Jeff's side, he's teamed up with the Zone 1 fire districts. Fire districts, fire marshals, which consists of 10 to 12 different districts.
Yeah, it's 11 different districts or cities that go all the way basically from Mercer Island and Bellevue, include all of the east side, and all the way around to Shoreline.
And the reason we do this is we're trying to create some kind of consistency for all the customers in this region, and so they're not having to go from jurisdiction to jurisdiction and have a different set of guidelines and principles. And so what we have for you today is our local amendments to the state building code. And with that, I'll have Jeff start it because most of the changes to locally were on the fire code.
Every 3 years, the International Code Council publishes the new editions of all of these building, plumbing, and fire codes. The nationally published editions come out usually about a year before the state adopts, so they go through a lengthy process to look at previous amendments and the new code language and have to work through all those issues. We do the same thing at the local level. Once the state has completed doing its amendments, we work through. Fortunately, there were not a lot of significant changes in the code this time around, and the state didn't do anything drastic either. So from a local perspective, there's really very little that has changed that's of any significance from what we were enforcing before. A couple of the things are actually a little less restrictive than they were in the current code. And then one of the things that we did address in there is there's a national pollution discharge elimination system which all cities are supposed to, this MPDES, meet certain requirements for it. Well, fire sprinkler systems, especially commercial ones, have big drain valves and stuff where you do test drains or sometimes you have to drain the system. Well, all that water in there normally has just gone out onto the parking lot and into the stormwater system. And that's been traditional for decades. And so one of the requirements that we put into this code and will be requiring is that all of those drains be piped to either to sanitary sewer or some other means to meet this NPDES requirement. So really trying to look outside of just the fire requirements and really trying to look at other things that are affected. Aside from that, the fire code is very much the way it was before. Nothing really significantly changes.
Just to clarify, that NPDES permit, it's a Department of Ecology program, and the City of Kenmore is responsible to follow those guidelines. So I'm glad that Jeff took the initiative to get that into our codes early, so we'll be in compliance with that section. Similarly, on the building codes and the plumbing codes, mechanical codes, and energy codes, the local amendments are pretty small. There's only really one big significant change that we made, and that was in benefit to the community, and that was to exempt certain solar equipment from building permits. And so if they can meet a certain size, weight, and location and arrangement on their building, they don't have to come in to the city to get a permit. And so hopefully we'll see some more solar arrays going on houses because of that. We were hearing from different builders that it was challenging to meet these local amendments. So that was really the biggest change in the building code. With that, we're available for any questions.
Looks like you've answered all of our questions already. So it looks like this does require some action. So we're looking to adopt ordinance number 16-0423, adopting 2015 Washington State Building Code with local amendments. So do I have a motion and a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. So please take, any comments? No? All right, go ahead and let's take the roll.
Councilmember Danuski?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Herbig?
Yes.
Councilmember Curtis?
Yes.
Councilmember Sperry?
Yes.
5-0.
So the motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Moving right along, we are to council member reports, comments, and initiatives. So we'll start with the council member Danuski, since she's down there by herself.
What? Who are these guys?
Do they see council member? I think they get
Nothing to add for me.
special time.
Nothing for me.
Councilmember Herbig?
Nothing for me.
Councilmember Sperry?
Yes. One thing, July 9th is going to be the 5th anniversary of the new Kenmore Library. Can't believe it's been 5 years already. And they are planning a celebration and looking for some volunteers. Looks like I've got the email in front of me, so I'm just kind of reading it here. They're going to have a scavenger hunt. I don't know how that works, but anyway. And some raffle. And so anyway, so not only is there going to be a party, it looks like there's opportunity for people to volunteer.
Councilmember Smith?
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Now, either I missed something, because I see council member reports, but I don't see any staff reports. So we're going to amend the agenda here at the end of the meeting to allow for staff reports.
Thank you, Councilmember Curtis. Just briefly, Rob will be back in the office on July 5th. And tomorrow, Puget Sound Energy has scheduled a site visit to the Circuit 26 neighborhood for interested neighbors. And so that will begin at 5 p.m. and they'll have a tent set up at Northeast 195th and 65th Northeast. And obviously you are all invited to join in as well. I don't know if any of you were able to get to the PSE open house that was last week. Councilmember Herbig was there. Pretty good turnout. We were pretty encouraged by some of the things we saw on their capital plan diagram for some improvements, particularly to that northeast or northwest section of the city. So, and in your consent agenda tonight, you did approve a contract with a consulting firm that will be working with us as we move forward with the new franchise agreement with PSE. This firm worked with the city of Bellevue when they were doing their franchise agreement with PSE in the last year or two. So we're looking forward to diving into that. And that is all I have. But again, really proud of my co-workers, including Mr. Carl Lindsay, off on a few well-deserved days away from the office. Thanks.
Councilmember Herbig?
It's a quick question, Nancy. Are we still talking at all with other power providers about the possibility of somebody else coming into Kenmore? Or
we are in contact with others. Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other comments? If not, we are adjourned. We don't.